Hello everybody, Hellcrax here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. Episode, 326, I think it is, I believe. Yeah, 326. Wow, time's flying. Alright, today we're going to be talking about the Ebon Jaguar, or the Cauldron Born, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. Because the Inner Sphere calls it the Cauldron Born, and then you got the Ebon Jaguar. All right. So we have a 65-ton mech. It's a 580, has an XL engine, endo steel, ferrofibrous armor. It does have, 182 points or 9.5 tons of armor, which is about a ton and a half short of maximum for this mech. It's pretty decent. It's got 30 tons of pod space, so yes, it can carry a plethora of weapon systems. But to be honest, with a lot of the different configurations that I've ever played with, I've never been impressed. Even though it's got 30 tons to play with. It's like they designed this thing to have the least useful options, possibly at times. Especially when you're playing it in the game, you're like, I wish I had something else. But yes, it does carry a lot of weapons, so it can do some good work if it's in the right position. It has 13 double heat sinks standard with it, which is good. And, right, primary configuration. All right, let's just delve into this thing. All right, so we have a Gauss rifle in the right arm and 2 tons of ammunition in the right torso. We have an LBX-5 autocannon in the left arm with 2 tons of ammunition in the arm. We have an LRM-10 in the left torso with 2 tons of ammunition in the left torso. We have an ER medium laser in the left torso, an SRM-2 in the right torso with a ton of ammunition. All right, to be honest, well, I just look at this, and I've played with this configuration before. It's kind of like trying to bring a kitchen sink to the fight. It wants to do everything possible, but it doesn't necessarily get the job done very well. It's the same problem like you have with the 100-tonner Diashi, where the prime configuration is, it's got a lot of weapons. It's got 50 tons of it, but it's like, is that the best ones you can throw on that thing? I understand it's like gameplay and everything. They're trying to make it more balanced or whatever. But there are times you look at it like, yeah, not what I want. I don't want that. It's definitely not useful for what I want it to do. That's what the Cauldron Born or the Ebon Jaguar suffers from at times. Is that it's trying to be shoehorned into something and it doesn't have quite the weapon systems you're looking for. But, you got to deal with it. But when you look at the prime, the Gauss rifle, nothing to sneeze at. I do like the idea of the Gauss rifle. Even though the Clan ERPPC, even though it produces 15 heat, does the job just as good. So, yeah. I'd rather have the ERPPC instead. Yeah, you got the heat with it, but I'm a very good manager of heat, and I can figure out how to make that thing, especially when you're looking at 26 heat sinks, and you can have a Gauss, you got the Gauss rifle there, the point of heat, you got the LBX cannon, there's a few points of heat there, and then you got the LRM-10 there with a few points, and then you throw in the ER medium laser and an SRM-2. Where's the heat? It's like it's over synced. It's like, give me the PPC instead. At least I feel good about the amount of heat I can use. Yeah, like, yeah, you got heat sinks you don't need. That's part of the problem with when you look at this mech. And then the damage output is like you're more or less. It's kind of like a crit hunting design. Yeah, you're punching holes with the Gauss rifle, and then when you get close enough, you got the little plinky weapons that are going to try to get your crits type of thing, but you're not really sloughing off a lot of armor off somebody, because it's, it's like if you use it as the LBX cannon, up to 5 points of damage, plink, plink, plink here. And then you got the LRM-10, which is usually going to be 6 damage. You got a 5 and a 1 typically. The ER medium laser is 7. And then you got the SRM-2 standard. If you hit with it, obviously, most of the time you're going to get 1 of those missiles going to hit. So how much damage are you really going to do? Yeah, not much. It's not a hard hitter at all. That's the problem with the Prime. So, there. I said it. I wish it's like, give me some better weapons. But, you know, it is what it is, I guess. You gotta live with something, I suppose. All right, so there's that. But it does come in about $1,700 and half battle value. So it's not overly expensive when it comes to when you're looking at it can do. So there's that. Now, configuration A. Now, there's a bunch of these configurations. Now, the thing is with this, it's a 5.8, 65-ton mech. It's a cavalry style mech. It's not a scout mech, but it's a typical style of clan operations. Sort of designed, kind of designed to stay off at a distance. You know, that's what you're looking at. That's their standard operating procedure. Is like, hey, let's just shoot out at a distance. Okay, fine, I give you that. But there are times you're like, hey, the interfere. What's their favorite way of doing fighting? The opposite. Get in there, grab them by the nose, and just keep kicking them. You know, it's like, don't let go. That's the interfere style. So when you get in close, you want some weapons up close that are going to do some damage. So now we get on to configuration A. All right, now we got something going on here. All right, configuration A. This is an interesting one. We got a pair of ER large lasers. There's your standoff style weapons. You know, you're going out 25. Yeah, you're going to do some 10 points here, there. But you know, you're doing 24 heat right there. All right, you can dissipate 26, run, no problem. We're good. All right, moving on. But it also carries the big giant AC-20 pumpkins thrower ultra cannon with a fair amount of ammunition, which I do believe it carries. Was it? I have to double check here. I think it's 3. And I'll tell you in a second here. 3, yes, 3 tons of ammunition. I had to double check that. But with an autocannon, that's 7 turns, 7.5. Okay, that's not bad. You can mosey on up to somebody. So hopefully you've done some good work with your large lasers. And when you get in close, you're just like, hey, congratulations, throw. You probably will shut off one of the large lasers and just start auto-canning double shot, okay? And living with the heat that you're creating there. But obviously you got a medium pulse laser with the mix with an ER medium laser. So you may consider dropping the 2 ER large lasers. Now, typically when you get a lot of players, they're just like, I got all those weapons, I'm just going to shoot everything, and then you're starting to cook the pilot. So you got to shut something off to keep operating. Some people enjoy the levels of heat that they can produce and live with it. That's the way you play. It's like you run your mech hot, and it's like oh, I missed because my mech was hot. That one extra pip that I created, I missed with all my dice rolls. And yes, I've seen it happen. So there, you just shot yourself in the foot, and you actually did nothing. So there's that. But, you know, when you get up close, you might consider just using the medium pulse laser and the ER medium laser with the autocannon. So, yeah, that would run you fairly cool, but you're still running around with a couple ER large lasers that are not getting used. But then we have a pair of machine guns, okay, and a flamer, which means that this one will work pretty good in taking down battle armor, all right, or getting into the flanks or something like that nature. I always like having a flamer. Flamer is kind of my preferred weapon over machine guns because it's multi-purpose. You know, it's like, hey, I see a building. I don't like that building. It's just looking at me funny. I'm going to burn it. You know, it's like, I'm going to create some smoke or something of that nature. Or you can hit some infantry in the building and cook the building on fire and burn them out. It's like, hey, I didn't do a lot of damage to you, but stick around. The building will do it for me. So there, you kind of force them out in the open. Kind of those Operation Terror weapons I like. All right, so there's that. Kind of an interesting. This one comes in at 24, a little over 2,400 battle value. So yeah, you're looking at something that's a little more expensive, but it has capability at long range, medium range. You know, it's got a plethora of good weapons, and it's good for taking care of some good targets. All right, so it's got some heavy hitting capability for ripping armor off. It's one of those ones where when you start getting in close, you fire this mech first and hope that AC-20 hits and gets a double pump in and just tear nice big swaths of armor off somebody, and then you have your other lighter weapons and other follow-on forces that are going to be tearing it a new one. All right, so there. So A, I prefer the A little bit more than the Prime. All right. The B configuration. All right. This one, kind of nice. This one has an ERPPC, a large pulse laser mounted one in each arm. All right. There we go. You're looking at 25 heat, and if you run, you obviously going up 1. You can do that for 4 turns without having a problem before you have to start thinking about something else. Maybe shutting some off. All right, so the damage output's not that bad. You're doing 25. You got a good heavy hitting 15, and you got a good 10. And I love the large pulse laser and the ERPPC for the clans. It's a great combination to work together. All right. And then we have a pair of medium pulse lasers with an active probe and a tag. All right, so there. This one is, they say it's kind of prone to overheating because of all the energy weapons on it. But is it really? You know, because you can turn around. It's like shut off the, yeah, you're going to be slightly different amount of heat output there with the ERPPC versus the 2 medium pulse lasers. But you can do that for a turn. Fire all the pulse lasers, get some good hits in, and turn around and hit with the ERPPC the next turn. So you kind of cool down, heat up, cool down, you know, that type of thing. So there's possibilities with that configuration. So there's that. And with the active probe, not necessarily, I don't think the active probe is really a good, useful tool in this case. I personally rather have the ECM instead. And the tag's handy because then your spot, you know, it's like targeting acquisition equipment. Very handy for a lot of good games. And this comes in a little over 2,500 battle value. But that's because you're heavy hitting PPC, large pulse. You know, you got some weapon systems on board that are going to do some good damage. All right, so there's that. Configuration C, Cauldron Born, the missile boat. All right, okay, this one is a little different. It has a pair of LRM-15s, all right? It has a pair of AC-2 Ultras, and then we have a pair of SRM-6s, all right? Nothing to back them up. This one comes in at 18 and a little over 1,800 battle value, so, yeah, it's cheapest of the, it's kind of like, if you want something to be a 65-ton mech that you can shoehorn into your lineup because it's got slightly cheaper battle value, I can understand it. The AC-2 Ultras are good for taking down VTOLs. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a long-range machine gun with some good, decent, little just plink shots. That's all it is. But it comes in with some tonnage problems. You know, it's like it's the damage output versus how much you're throwing into it. You know, you might have been better off with something else, but you know, it is what it is. Now the LRM-15s are good, and the SRM-6s are good. These are your standard fair weapons that you find throughout all the eras. They'll get the job done at range. It's more or less, I kind of look at this mech as something that's running around the flanks and just plink it away. It's like, oh, you got some heavy tanks or something, or I'm going to get around the flanks and I'm going to hit you with those AC-2s and the LRMs and mobility kill vehicles. Works really good, especially out at distance. If you're sitting at the distance that those autocannons are going to hit with against vehicles, and they got nothing to respond with, all you're doing is mobility kill them, turning them into pillbox, so then your following forces can just say, hey, we'll clean up as we go, as we need, see fit. All right, that's kind of like how I envision those things. And if you got a VTOL running around out there, it's like, hey, I'm just going to shoot you and maybe take out your rotors. Hey, works good. All right, configuration D. Okay, all right, this one has a pair of autocannons, AC-10 Ultras, and a ER large laser. So now you do have the capability to do some damage at some good range with that. Especially, you got the ER large laser. That's a good range right there. It has a pair of ER medium lasers. So you got some energy weapons there. And still, you got 2 tons of ammunition. Battle value is at a little over 2,200 battle value. The autocannons, they can dish out some damage. Typically, my luck usually is I'm hitting with both of them. And then I'm following up with just 10-10 hit. I don't get the extra 10-10s because it's like you got a second roll to see how many hit. So yes, you got that. So you're backing it up with your energy weapons. So it's not that bad. It's not running that hot. So it's a good harassment flanker type of mech. That's configuration D. I can get behind using that one. I have used it before, and that's primarily what I'm doing is I'm working the edges with that thing, just doing some damage as you're. Typically, this one's going to be a star leader of a smaller medium lance style where you have, or not lance, but star, where you're running around with some medium, maybe a light or two mech, and this would be your star commander. He's adding some weight to the mix, and he's got some range to help out. So, but you're running down the flank someplace, and you're looking for the stuff in the rear. You're heading after those intersphere missile boats that are parked back there, and giving them some love. That's kind of a vision. Or if it's vehicles back there, getting in and close and hammering away pretty hard. So you can hammer typically, this mech configuration can possibly take out a vehicle in one shot by itself. Punching holes in. If you hit in the right spot, just bang, 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 all in the same spot. Let's say a front slope or a side armor, you can kill it pretty quickly. All right. Then we got configuration E. This is interesting. This one has equipped with an ATM-12. Has a HAG-20, an ER medium laser, and a large pulse laser for 2,400 battle value. Yeah. So with the ATM, obviously, you're going to take 2 tons with this, whatever configuration of ammo. It's like you're going to have long range, short range. That's going to do some good damage. The HAG, okay. It's just kind of like a AC-20. LBX-20 type style, looking thing. So yeah, you're going to do some good damage with that. So the potential for damage is there. And then you got the ER medium laser and that large pulse laser backing it up. And to be honest, the ATM-12 and the large pulse laser are your better hitters, even though the HAG-20 is a good weapon system for doing just shock damage. That type of going that route. So there's that. Then we have configuration F. And this one mounts a ER PPC in each arm, has an ATM-6 in each torso. All right. And then we have 3 tons of ammo for the ATM. So you have potential of which style you want, or you can have all 3 for if you want to. But, it goes with it. Whatever. Personally, I think you might have been better off with 2 tons and just go short and long. All right, go that route. And 2 in the right, 1 in the left. There's where your ammo. Then you have a targeting computer to go with this thing, go with those PPCs. You're coming in at about 2,700 battle value. And it does carry 1 additional heat sink in each arm. So, left arm. So you got 3 additional heat sinks. So now you're, instead of 13 heat sinks, you got 16. So your heat dissipation is not that bad. So you can handle the PPCs and the targeting computer. So that's really your primary weapon system. So you're going to be running the ATM along with it, but that's going to be what you, if you're parked, the heat's not that bad. But it's when you start running or walking, depending on, that's where you're looking at how much heat you're going to start increasing by. So there is that. The PPCs, 2 heavy hitting 15s at, oh, this is 2700 battle value, but yeah, it works pretty good. You're going to have some nice work with it. And once again, you throw it into a medium style star like the other ones, you can just sit there at longer ranges ripping chunks out of somebody without having to worry about close, because you don't want to close really. And if they do close, then you throw the ATM 6 at them with the short range stuff. So there's that. So there. Configuration G. All right, this one devotes most of its tonnage to the massive Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle 40. That's a mouthful. Yeah, and that says it all. That is a nasty kind of weapon system. It has 3 tons of ammunition in the left torso. It also has a heavy improved large laser, so you do have some damage output with that. And then you have a targeting computer. This one comes in at 28.5 battle value. It does come in pretty expensive, but when it hits hard. Yeah, you're gonna know it when those 2 weapon systems. But everything's wrapped up in those 2. So it is kind of like your bunker buster type thing. It runs up and just bam, hello, I'm here, and hammer home with it. Or you see an assault mech or a heavy mech that's out there that's got not so great mods on it. You come up with that thing and just plow drive into it, and it's like, hello, I'm here, and welcome to the party, pal. And there you got that. But it's kind of like throwing all your Easter eggs into one basket. You know, you got to hope that they both hit. So there's that. All right, configuration H. This one has the Ultra AC-20 of the A. Though it strips out all the other weapons, it also have heavy large laser and a pair of heavy medium lasers and a single medium pulse laser. And they're all tied into a targeting computer. Okay, definitely when you got a heavy large laser and heavy medium lasers, they're going to want the assistance of the targeting computer to be able to hit better. So, because you got the minuses with that. And then you have 3 additional heat sinks. All right, but still, you have heat. You can have a lot of heat problems with this mech if you don't watch it, because the heavy large laser and heavy medium lasers and standard medium laser and the double pump that auto cannon, you're going to be pumping out a lot of heat, and you could be pretty cooked, and you could be pot roasted. But it comes in at a little over 23.5 battle value. So, yeah, but it's got some good damage if you hit with everything. It's going to rip some armor off. Then we got configuration T. All right, this one has a EOR PPC mounted in the right arm, and Clan Ultra 5 in the left. It has a Streak LRM-10 for your ranged. Improved heavy medium laser in the left torso, 1 ton of ammunition for the LRM and the autocannon each. So the right torso mounts a twin Thunderbolt 5 launcher. Not a big fan of the Thunderbolt launchers. And then you have, this is like looking at any missile system coming your way. Then you have 2 tons of ammunition for it. And then you have case, obviously 2, so improved case. Comes in at about 2,200 battle value. Not really a big fan of this one, to be honest. It could be better, but it's that I think it's the Ultra 5 that kind of, and the heavy, well, the improved heavy laser doesn't have to worry too much about the the minus is there because it's improved system, but still, you have to look at the heat problems you're delving into this one. And then you got configuration U. This is the underwater version, so it's equipped for doing underwater operation. It has a single large pulse laser, an ER small laser to capitalize on the armor breaches, and a pair of LRMTs, so torpedoes. So LRM-15 torpedoes, basically. About 2,600 battle value. What can you say? It's like it's designed with weapon systems that fight underwater. Shorter range, but, it is what it is. Then configuration X. This one is equipped with an Angel ECM suite, target computer, and it has a rotary rack 5 in the right arm, 3 medium pulse lasers, and an ER small laser. So, yeah, it's got some weapon systems. Comes in a little over 2,400 battle value. Nothing to sneeze at. It's not that bad, not that great, but it gets the job done. With the rotary rack 5, yeah, you can do some good damage with it. It's a burst weapon and hope that it doesn't jam up on you type of thing, typically. So there's that. But overall, be honest, the Ebon Jaguar could be better with a different configuration. It's an Omni, so you can design it however you want to, instead of using the standard book configuration. So yeah, you're the commander. If you got the capability of making the sheet the way you want, go ahead, do it. One of the configurations I've used in the past for operations, let me see if I still got it up here somewhere. Where is it at? There we go. This one has a large pulse laser, ERPPC, has 3 medium pulse lasers, 2 flamers, tag, ECM, with a target computer, with 16 double heat sinks. Now that's one I've used in the past. It has something to deal with infantry, with the flamers. It has some short range weapons, and then you got a PPC and a large pulse laser for punching holes. So when you're at a distance, you can punch holes with the large pulse laser and the PPC, and when you get in closer, I typically will shut off the PPC and hit it with the medium pulse lasers, and then if you get in close enough, you might hit him with the flamer to give him a little heat damage. Go that route. And the ECM helps you from Artemis or shutting down the C3 networks, and tag if you got any type of units behind you that want to use it. I find tags pretty helpful. So there. So that's the Cauldron Born. Kind of a funky looking mech, because when you see them, it's all the hand sculpted metal ones from Iron Man. I got one here somewhere in my collection. I just never bothered digging it out to take a picture of it. So there it is. That's the Cauldron Born. Useful mech for operations. You just have to get it configured the way you want it to make it work for you. One of those is going to work, possibly, or make it your own, whatever you want to do. But that's it. That's the Cauldron Born, the Ebon Jaguar. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Hellcracks out.